we are talking about a HIV cure in 2026 with no cure because HIV cure research is still happening. People living with HIV get to probably stay away from medication for a long time. How do we create something called a functional cure? When we maybe decide to join clinical trials, what are our rights? What are we giving up? What is going on? What are they doing to our bodies? Hello and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Doreen Moracha. In case you're new here, I do all things HIV, from the HIV cure, HIV treatment, HIV prevention, all of them, you name them, they're here. You're going to find them here on my YouTube channel. And if you don't find them here, then you're going to find them across my different social media platforms where I do host conversations on different HIV related topics. And today I want us to unpack a little bit on the HIV cure. As we know, the HIV cure does not exist. As I'm making this video, we do not have a current cure for HIV. However, there are 8 to 10 people who've been cured of HIV, and the very first person to be cured of HIV from a stem cell transplant was Timothy Ray Brown, who passed on unfortunately in 2020, and it was not HIV related. And in this year of the Lord of 2026, we've also lost another HIV cure patient who was known as the San Francisco patient. Her name was Lauren. I forget the second name, but she was also very kind enough to donate her body to science so that it can get being researched on. But for the entire time that she was alive, once she was cured of HIV, the HIV never came back, where scientists call that it did not rebound, and she continued living her life, apart from the fact that she got cancer and she continued managing it. But she was such a lovely person. From all the tributes that have been written online about her, I was hoping that I could meet her, but I didn't, and may her soul continue resting in peace. So why do we talk about a HIV cure even though it's non-existent? We talk about it because unfortunately there was a time when there were no HIV medication. So there were no ARVs, there was nothing that you could work with, there was nothing, just pure vibes and inshallah. And I was born in that era when people were dying, when people were being told you're HIV positive, but we don't have anything to give you, and you will go home. Then we came to an era where we were being given Septrin only to fight the opportunistic infections. Then we came to a point where you will go to hospital to just be treated for the opportunistic infections. Then we came to an era where we were taking at least 6 pills in a day. In fact, people were taking more than 6 pills in a day. And then we came to an era where we got an ARV that had very major side effects. And then we came to an era where we are now taking 2 medications, and then no, it started with 3, 2 in the morning, and 1 in the morning, 2 in the evening. Then it went to 2, and then now we are on 1 pill. At least a good amount of us are on 1 pill. Remember, there are 3 different levels of ARVs. We have the first line medication where you only take 1 pill. That is the entry point. Second line, nowadays they're also incorporating them to take 1 pill, but there are people who take 2. And then we have third line where you take more than 3 pills. So it's not about the lines don't the lines sort of increase your number of pills, but they also increase the complications as well. How you end up in this situation is if you stop taking a medication at some point, if you stop, sometimes you have like treatment resistance and stuff like that. However, this video is not just about treatment. I was giving you just an overview on what treatment means for us and where it's at so far, and how much science has advanced, because now we even have an injectable ARV, and it might not be in low and middle income countries yet, but the patents that the licenses in normal languaging were given to smaller pharmaceuticals last year to be able to create a generic injectable ARV. Why do we need generics? We need them because they're affordable, so that our governments can be able to afford and buy them for us. Okay, so I have given you an overview of how treatment works. And there's like so many processes that have jumped in between, including the pricing, the fundraising, the resource mobilization, all that. But we are talking about a HIV cure in 2026 with no cure, because HIV cure research is still happening. Okay, there are different strategies being studied for us to get a HIV cure. We have stem cell transplant has more patients that have gotten cured from it. I have interviewed 3 of them: the London patient, the City of Hope patient, and the Dusseldorf patient. You can go back and see a video I did in 2024 around the 3 people who've been cured of HIV out of the 10. But stem cell transplant is not sustainable, because the quality of life you lead after that might sometimes be questionable. And remember that these people had cancer. They didn't walk into the hospital to cure HIV. They walked into the hospital to cure their cancer. They only ended up getting a bone marrow transplant from somebody with a CCR5 mutation, which is a mutation that some people have that prevents them from getting HIV. And it's a very small amount of people. So don't start thinking it is you. So we talk about HIV cure because of these advancements that are happening, because stem cell transplants have made us see that a HIV cure is possible, right? But also, it has made us now start thinking out of the box on how do we create something called a functional cure. A functional cure is where some people living with HIV get to probably stay away from medication for a long time. For example, you become undetectable, but it's like permanently undetectable. Or you become undetectable for 5 years, you're not taking medication, you go back, they inject you, they put, I don't know, maybe like at this point is where I'm supposed to ask you, how do you think HIV cure will look like if it ever comes? Like, is it an injectable, a series of injectables, like some sort of chemotherapy, the way cancer people get their chemos, like, let me know what you think in the comment section. So a lot of the times we talk about a cure because of the research that is happening. A lot of you don't believe in this research. There's a lot of mistrust, and some countries, especially from the African region, are even incorporating traditional cures and traditional herbs to see if they can get us to a HIV cure faster. We are now also living in an age of artificial intelligence. So we have to talk about a cure, because AI could speed up our HIV cure process. So we don't know, but a functional cure is one of the things that is being worked on through different strategies. So we have like shock and kill, where you shock the virus and then you kill it, literally. And then we have the South African cure, for example, that, well, let me use it in quotes. The South African cure, I'm using it in quotes because it was something called analytical treatment interruption, which is one of the cure strategies being researched on where you can take somebody off medication and see how long they stay without the virus rebounding or without the virus coming back and multiplying. Because what HIV does in the body is it comes back and multiplies, and that multiplication is what causes complications. But when you're on ARVs, then there is no new copies, it does not multiply, it is quiet, it is silent, it is not doing any harm in your body. So what all of this means is that research is ongoing. A lot of you don't believe in the science and don't believe in the research, but the South African cure study called the analytical treatment interruption, that uses analytical treatment interruption for studying a HIV cure, proved to us once again why we need to keep having conversations about a HIV cure. Okay, we don't have it yet, but it is being worked on. Okay, we also have something called shock and lock. Shock and lock is where you shock the virus. There's something called it's a sleeping virus. It's the sleeping part of HIV virus. Actually, sleeping is the layman language. There's the layman's language. There's a name, I'm just forgetting, latent HIV virus. So the latent virus, because it's quiet, they want to wake it up, and they want to wake it up so that they can block those HIV cells and lock them so that they do not get to multiply in case they decide to wake up like nothing happens, right? And then we now also have the strategy on gene editing. Gene editing is slightly expensive, but it edits the genes of an individual to be able to manipulate for lack of a better word, the HIV virus, so that this person now gets to be able to counter the virus. This person's immune system gets to counter the HIV virus. And this is me trying to say this in the most normal language possible, right? So with this particular one, it basically it's slightly expensive, but it has proven to do a good amount of work. I think it's what was being used by Dr. Sharon Lewin in her lab in Australia. I do have a video I did with her. I have just not uploaded it yet. So I will upload it, okay? Don't worry about it. I'll upload a video of Dr. Sharon. I'll upload a video of Professor Tumbi. He was the one that was leading the HIV cure South African trial. So I'll upload all of these videos so that you guys get to be on the loophole and on the know-how of what is coming and why it's very important for us to continue speaking about a HIV cure. We're speaking about a HIV cure so that you get to understand what it does. We're speaking about a HIV cure so that when research comes to the African region, because it has started in the African region. There's what you call the Africa HIV Cure Research Consortium. There are different organizations that are working on HIV cure research in the African region. We need to be at the table. When we maybe decide to join clinical trials, what are our rights? What are we giving up? What is going on? What are they doing to our bodies? Okay, so all of these things is the reason why we need to keep having conversations about a HIV cure, and also to maintain the aspect of trust, to build trust, because there's a lot of lack of trust between the communities and the scientists, and we have to keep talking to them. We have to have conversation with each other, because a HIV cure is coming at some point. I don't know when. A lot of you ask me, Doreen, when are we getting a cure? I wish I knew. I wish I could answer you that question and tell you that by 2027 we'll have a cure, but no. But for us to be able to reach the UNAIDS targets of 95, 95, 95, we also, I believe there should be a fourth 95 in those three 95s. That actually means that we get a HIV cure, because we can't end AIDS as a public health threat without a HIV cure. So let me know, why do you think as a person we should continue having HIV cure related conversations, and what it means for you, and what you would like to hear from the scientists themselves on having a HIV cure. As from me, I have come to the end of this video. I hope you get to like, share, and subscribe. The videos coming after this video are going to be from the scientists that I recorded at IAS 2025 in Kigali. Otherwise, continue engaging with me, and thank you so much for always coming back to learn, and I hope you learned something new. Mwah.